We have breaking news. The Winnipeg Jets have made a huge signing, re-signing a very familiar face that is crucial to this Winnipeg Jets team. We're going to break down exactly what the contract is. That is a steal for the Jets. We're also going to break down some other updates ahead of what's going to be a crucial stretch of games following the NHL returning from the Four Nations face-off. But before we get into it, if you're a part of the percentage you aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jets content. And if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. And let's break it all down. Darius, there's a lot to go over today. Obviously, we know that the Winnipeg Jets are in a very interesting spot right now. They are atop the NHL. They have Connor Hellebuyck coming off of a very impressive Four Nations face-off run. But they broke, they made some headlines this morning, and they signed Namestnikov. They re-signed him or extended his contract, I guess, at 2 years, $3 million. And he has been a guy who had been with the Jets now for a little bit. He is absolutely crucial to this team. And to get him extended for another 2 years, extend some of the crucial role players, I guess is the best word, in their little cup window that they have over the next handful of seasons, and especially this season as well, it provides some certainty to this team going forward, and an absolute steal of a contract. And I think it's fair for both the Jets and Vladdy.
Yeah, this is a great value deal. Like, we were not expecting this. I think a lot of people had him in the $3 to $4 million range, I guess. But, I thought it was going to be a little bit more, especially with the news of the salary cap going up, like significantly going up year after year after this season. So this is a great value deal for the Jets. They don't, sign him long-term either, so they don't handcuff themselves at all. And it's only $6 million over the course of 2 seasons for a guy who's been playing second line center for you and playing second line power play unit time. So, this is a guy who I've said on the channel, earlier this season, maybe not get rid of, but move him down the lineup, which I still think is a very real possibility if they go out and get like somebody like Brock Nelson, which we've talked about on the channel as well. But, he's been one of the most underrated players in the entire league. This Jets team has been rolling this season. He's been a big part of that at second line center. Now, Ehlers has found some chemistry with Adam Lowry before, obviously, Lowry went out with an injury, but Namestnikov has been great. So this is honestly a great value signing for the Winnipeg Jets at a pretty low cost, honestly.
Yeah, very good. You can see this here. This tweet from the Stat Contracts Gosse had Namestnikov projected for a $2.5 million on a 2-year deal. This extension comes a bit higher than expected, but Namestnikov has played well this year in a very strong Jets team. You can look at some of his projected cap hit. It is a very, very fair deal for both sides, and 28 points so far this season in 51 games, about half a point per game player. And his value to this team, like you mentioned, whether he's playing the second line, third line, regardless of what he plays, the wing, center, he has done. And he was a pending UFA. So to get him locked in now for the next 2 years is going to be big. And you mentioned it doesn't, affect them too much financially going forward because it's only a, $3 million cap hit. But also, they now have it locked up, and a player who is very important to this team can help contribute over the next couple of years. And whatever happens with some of the other pending free Nikolai Ehlers and players like that, that doesn't matter right now in this very moment as it pertains to this contract. So very good. See here from Carter Brooks. Vladislav Namestnikov has signed a 2-year, $6 million extension. Much deserved for a guy who slotted seamlessly into the second line center role for the first place Winnipeg Jets. And I think there's also a degree of rewarding what he's done with the Jets. He's been a very solid and just a crucial contributor to this team. He's not going to be the guy who leads the team in points or leads the team in anything really, but he's able to be absolutely crucial. On the second line now is something that's even crazier. You can see his JFresh chart here. Not the best advanced analytics, but he plays pretty good hockey at even strength, and that's what the Jets need. And he was coming off of a $1 million AAV, or $3 million over 3 years, contract, so at a $3 million AAV. Very interesting, and I think it's fairly solid, especially because he's 31 years old. It only takes him into his age 33 to 34 season.
Yeah, exactly. You're not signing him till he's 36, right? Like at 33, if you want to move on, you can. So again, you're not handcuffed in any way. The deal is great at $3 million. If you look at his advanced analytics, like you mentioned with the JFresh chart, it doesn't jump off the page at you. Nothing there, right? But he is pretty good 5-on-5, and he's played really good minutes for the Jets this year, and they're first place. So I mean, we've talked about it on the channel since the beginning of the year. Yes, the Jets probably need a depth defenseman at the deadline and maybe another center, right? We've talked about it, but we do know what the market is now, and it's pretty ridiculous this year. So there is a world where, the Jets are a pretty good team. Maybe they just go into the playoffs with what they have, and Namestnikov has played pretty good. He could slot down to the third line center if they want to put Lowry at second line center just to continue that chemistry with Ehlers, like I mentioned. So, there's a lot that can still kind of play around with the lineup with heading into the playoffs if they don't want to go out and spend a ton of assets on a pretty mid player or a guy who's like 35 years old or in his mid 30s, right? So I think that there's a lot still they can do with the team, and this guy's been a big part of it all season. Again, you mentioned it. He's not going to lead the team in scoring. I mean, they have very high upside on the offense, obviously, with guys like Scheifele in the season he's having, right? Ehlers, obviously Gabe Velarde's having a career year, but this is a guy who, has slotted in very nicely, and maybe even unexpectedly into the second line center position for the Jets. And he's playing second line power play time as well. He doesn't see too much time on the penalty kill at all, but he's doing what he can in the positions that he's put.
Yeah, Kyle Connor as well. Very obviously crucial goal scorer. And I mean, he is a very, satisfying player in the sense of he's going to make the coach happy every time. He's fine to watch. He's rarely going to turn over the puck a ton. Is he going to score a ton of goals? No. He's about as responsible as it comes. And for cup teams like the Winnipeg Jets and a bunch of other teams, like I can guarantee you if he hit the unrestricted free agent market, there would be probably 25 other teams who'd be willing to give him a 2-year, $3 million extension. So to get it locked up midway through the season and also to give him some security as this final stretch of hockey comes into play as the Winnipeg Jets hopefully go for they're trying to obviously go for a deep playoff run. You see this here in Namestnikov. The NHL teammates voted him the most underrated teammate in his last round of the player polls. We've got a lot of guys that deserve more credit than they get, said one forward. I'll go with Vladdy just because I played with him and now I understand how he sees the game. He's so smart. I don't think people give him enough credit. It was a common sentiment. Vladdy Namestnikov, that guy is unbelievable. He's so good at obviously just being the player that he is, not trying to do too much, and his teammates recognize that. And obviously 32, and now he was a pending UFA. And looking at some of the stuff from Puckpedia, of course, shout out to them. And again, 52 games, 29 points, former first-round pick. And it's just a very good signing. And I don't think many Jets fans, let us know down below if you're upset with the signing or if you're happy with it. I can't imagine many fans are upset with it. You have another guy, second-line center, probably third-line center going forward, depending what happens following this year. But regardless, he is a phenomenal player for what he does with this Winnipeg Jets team, especially, it's a perfect fit with the Jets paired alongside all the goal scorers that you mentioned. I can't imagine a much better scenario for him, and he's on pace to tie his career high in points. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, he's another guy on this team this year that is probably going to smash his career high in points, right? We just mentioned Gabe Velarde, so Dylan Sandberg's having a great year. We haven't mentioned him in this video yet, but he's another guy that is probably going to smash his career high in points. And he was going to be a UFA, and like you mentioned, I thought that was a great point that there's probably 25, 30 other teams that would scoop him up on this deal. It's a great value deal for the team, and he doesn't jump off the page at you in terms of stats, like you mentioned. He's not even close to being a point a game player, but he plays a role for the team, and he plays really good minutes there in the second line. And he's, pretty underrated, I think, defensively, like a decent two-way player. So he's kind of seemingly come out of nowhere, I think, to a degree for Jets fans. But at the same time, I think, like you mentioned as well, I can't imagine any Jets fans are upset with this deal. This makes sense. The market for players at this year's trade deadline is insane. So to get him locked up, to make sure he's here for the next 2 years, I think that's a good thing. And if they really want to go out and get like an actual second line center, if you want to put it that way, they can this offseason as well. But I do still think something's going to happen at the deadline. They're definitely going to add something. We don't know exactly what it is. It's either defense or a center. So it's going to be interesting to see what Kevin has up his sleeve.
Yeah, a lot of cap space for them, and going to be exciting to see what he will continue to bring for the team, what Kevin Cheveldayoff has in order and has in store for this trade deadline. But that'll wrap it up. Let us know below your thoughts. Thank you guys for watching.